Our story takes place at Zhangyang University, where our protagonist, Shen, a second-generation rich kid, steps out of his supercar showing off his wealth in front of everyone. But that's not all. He's also dating the second-year goddess of the university. Onlookers can't believe that he's barely started college and is already in a relationship with a second-year beauty from the flight attendant class. Of course, when you're rich and good-looking, you get first pick when it comes to dating. But Shen doesn't just get first pick, he practically has a monopoly. Tons of first-year goddesses are head over heels for him, while average students like them are destined to spend their university lives single. All the other female students are just looking for a chance to spend time with Shen. After all, who wouldn't want to be the girlfriend of a second-generation rich kid? But unfortunately, Shen's lavish spendthrift lifestyle, envied by everyone, came to an end in his junior year of college. Because of a disastrous event, not only did his family's 3 travel agencies go bankrupt, but they also racked up $1 million in debt. And his friends, who used to call him Big Brother and always surrounded him, stopped even looking at him properly after his family went bankrupt. Just like that, his old fake friends drifted away one by one, shunning him like he was a plague. His parents and sister were crammed into a rented apartment, and he, who used to come to college in a luxury car every day, had to move back into a college dorm, with everything falling apart. Forget about the freedom and carefree days of the past, he didn't even know if he could live a decent life anymore. Then came the moment that broke him further. His girlfriend Zhou broke up with him. She told Shen not to contact her anymore and said she hoped he would find a girl who understood him better. Shen was shocked. He couldn't believe that after 3 years together, she just ended things so coldly. Was she truly that heartless? But Zhou made it clear. There was no love between them. They were only together to satisfy their own needs. She also told Shen to stop calling her Ting ever again. If they ever crossed paths in the future, she hoped they would never see each other again. After saying that, she got into the car of Shen's friend, the one who had come to pick her up, and drove away. Shen smiled and stopped her, telling her to return the designer bags he had bought for her, saying, "I guess you're not using them anymore." Zhou, shocked, asked Shen, "How can you be such a shameless person? Have some dignity. We were together for 3 years and all you gave me were a few lousy bags, and now that we're breaking up you want them back?" Shen kept smiling and replied, "If you can't even return them, can we really call this a proper breakup?" Zhao gritted her teeth in frustration. However, her friend in the car told her not to get angry over something like this. The older man called out, asking Ting to get in the car. Then he turned to Shen and asked if he needed a lift. Shen couldn't believe that the old man called her Ting. She liked it when he said it, but when Shen said it, she got angry. Shen replied that he didn't need a ride, his place was just nearby. The old man told Shen not to take the breakup too seriously and not to worry too much. He even added that for safety's sake, he should drop Shen off himself. Shen was furious, wondering if they thought he was some kind of fool. He told the old man, "My place is close, just a few steps away. Zhou Wanting is a good girl. Please take good care of her in the future. As men, we should give women the best." Then, with a cold smile, he continued, "By the way, let me tell you a few things about Wanting's habits. First, she loves using Okamoto 1 condoms. Second, she doesn't need high-end stockings because the fancy ones aren't as comfortable. And lastly, her favorite outfits in bed are nurse and cop uniforms." The old man's face darkened in anger upon hearing this, and he quickly drove away with Zhou, while Shen stood there, watching them leave, thinking, 77 Zhou Wanting, maybe your choice was the right one. I hope it leads you to a perfect life. Just as he was lost in thought, wondering how to turn his life around, suddenly a system window appeared in front of him. Confused and shocked, Shen wondered if he was on the brink of death or having some sort of mental breakdown. Was that why he was seeing such an illusion? However, the system quickly explained. It was called the Perfect Life System. With this system, if Shen spent money on female partners, he would receive 3 times the amount spent in return. The system then activated a time-limited task and instructed Shen, spend money on a suitably aged member of the opposite sex who has an affinity level over 60 and earn their admiration. If the task is successfully completed, the money spent will be refunded, multiplied by 3. If that person's affinity increases by 3 points during the spending, the refund will be doubled again. However, the spending must come from his own savings or cash, not borrowed or stolen money. Shen was stunned and confused. Was this a joke? A hallucination? How could he suddenly awaken a system like this? Before he could think further, his teacher Li Xiao called out to him from behind. She had heard about Shen's breakup and told him not to stress. It was just a breakup, and it wasn't the end of the world. In moments like this, she said with a smile, there's one phrase guys love to hear the most. If it's over, it's over. The next one will be better. She tried to cheer him up and assured him he would definitely find a girl much better than Joe. Just then, Shen noticed numbers floating above Professor Li's head. It looked like an affinity level. Seeing the glowing numbers and notes hovering around her, Shen realized the perfect life system from a moment ago wasn't a hallucination, it was real. He gave an awkward smile and told Professor Li that he was fine. Seeing him in a better mood, she smiled and said, "By the way, if you thought more about the scholarship I mentioned earlier, I can help you with the application." However, Shen told Professor Li that a few thousand yuan was just a drop in the bucket compared to his family's massive debts, and it would be better to give the scholarship to someone who truly needed it. Professor Li nodded in understanding, but she added, "If you ever face any issues in the future, whether it's about love or anything else, you can come talk to me anytime." After saying that, she began walking back to class. Shen, however, was thinking about using Professor Li for the system's time-limited task. He wanted to find out whether he would really receive a multiplied refund for completing the task, so he stopped Professor Li and thanked her for caring so much about him. Then, he bought a milk tea and gave it to her. Afterward, he checked his phone. His original balance had been 87 yuan. He'd spent 6 yuan on the milk tea, so he should have had 81 yuan left. But now, he saw he had received an income of 18 yuan, bringing his new balance to 99 yuan. With this, he realized the system's refund really works. As long as Professor Li's affinity towards him stays above 60, he could keep spending on her and continue receiving refunds from the system. Realizing this opportunity, Shin thought, if I play this right, I can pay off all my family's debts. No, my family could even become richer than ever before. I'll be back to my old self, or maybe something even better. However, there was a major problem. His current capital was only 99 yuan. That was far too little, and according to the system's rules, he could only spend money from his own savings or cash to receive a refund. His top priority now was to secure enough startup capital and find the right women with high affinity to spend on, so over the next few days he managed to gather funds. 8,000 yuan in gold bars, 20,000 yuan in personal loans, 21,585 yuan in business loans, plus the original 99 yuan. That brought his total to 49,680. For Yuan Shen decided to use this money to give Professor Li an expensive gift. However, in her eyes, he was still just a poor student from a bankrupt family. If he wanted her to accept such a costly present, he'd have to be careful about how he presented it. So, he bought a handbag worth 39,800 yuan apiece from this year's spring collection. To make it acceptable, he planned to tell her he got it through a knockoff deal so she wouldn't feel pressured or suspicious. Without wasting any time, he headed to Professor Li's apartment. On the way, he couldn't help but worry, what if she already had a partner? Still, pushing aside his hesitation, he knocked on her door. Professor Li opened it, surprised to see Shen standing there. "Shen, what are you doing here?" she asked. Shen immediately noticed that she was cooking and felt a bit awkward. He apologized, saying, "Sorry for bothering you at this time." Then he added sincerely, "Professor Li, you've taken such good care of me over these past 3 years of college. I used to take it for granted, thinking it was just normal. But today I realized just how precious and warm that support really is." He then handed her the bag, saying, "This is just a small token of my gratitude." However, when Professor Li saw the expensive bag, she immediately realized it wasn't cheap. She told Shen, "You don't have to give me anything. As your professor, this is part of my job. It's nothing special. I treat all my students the same. There's really no need for this." But Shen quickly replied, "This bag isn't actually that expensive. I bought it from a knockoff seller. It only cost me 2,000 yuan. Given my family's situation, how could I possibly afford anything more?" He added, "The bag may not be worth much, but it's a token of my gratitude. Please accept it." At that point, Professor Lee realized that refusing the gift would feel like rejecting his feelings outright, and after his recent breakup, she didn't want to hurt him any further. So she accepted the gift. However, she told Shen, "Then I'll return the favor on some holiday or your birthday." Suddenly, the stir-fry she had been cooking began to burn. She rushed back into the kitchen and called out, "Shen, come inside." She then invited him to stay for dinner. This was the perfect opportunity for Shen. He smiled and said, "As long as your boyfriend doesn't mind, I'm happy to stay." After all, he needed to be close to her to raise her affinity level and earn more system refunds. Just then, he received a system notification. 119,400 yuan has been added to your account. Upon seeing this, Shen smiled, thinking, a 39,800 yuan bag. With the triple refund, Shen received 119,400 yuan. After deducting the cost of the bag, he had made nearly 80,000 yuan in profit. It wasn't like he had never spent 80,000 yuan before, but earning it himself was a completely different feeling, and this time, he had done it all on his own. Just as he was lost in thought, Professor Lee came out and told him to sit down and eat. Shen quickly composed himself and asked, "Professor Lee, where's your boyfriend?" Professor Lee looked surprised and replied, "I don't have a boyfriend." Just then, her kitchen apron wouldn't come off properly, and she struggled with the knot. Shen stepped forward to help, but Professor Lee said, "No need, it's fine." Still, Shen smiled and replied, "Don't worry, I'll fix it in a moment." But just as he was helping her, Li Xiao's younger sister, Li Meng, walked in and shouted, "What the heck are you doing?" Startled, Shen quickly pulled his hands back and stammered, "We're not doing anything." Professor Li, trying to defuse the moment, smiled and asked her sister, "Why are you so late today?" Then she introduced her properly to Shen. "This is my little sister Li Meng." Shen awkwardly said hello to her, but Li Meng coldly replied that she wasn't in the mood to chat. Sensing the tension, Shen realized the seriousness of the situation and turned to Professor Lee, saying, "I already ate before coming, so I'll head back to the college now." Professor Lee looked confused and asked, "Just a moment ago it seemed like you were about to sit down and eat. What happened?" Before Shen could respond, Li Meng spoke up and said, "This guy is definitely up to no good." Professor Lee frowned and said, "Don't overthink it, he's just my student." But her younger sister warned her, "He's clearly trying to flirt with you. Be careful." Professor Lee sighed and replied, "Don't be ridiculous. Now come on, let's eat." Meanwhile, as Shen walked away, he was lost in thought. Who should I spend on next? Professor Lee was just a student-teacher relationship, and besides, she wasn't like Zhou Wanting, who only cared about money. Just then, he bumped into his roommate, Lao Huang, who didn't look so good. Shen asked him, "What happened to you?" Lao Huang replied miserably, "My goddess, Fang Minwei went to the movies with that damn Li Hanpeng." Shen immediately remembered Fang Minwei. Fang Minwei, the flower of the sophomore class in international trade, class 20. She was Lao Huang's untouchable goddess. They had never spoken, never interacted, not even once. It was pure, one-sided admiration. When Lao Huang saw the expression on Shen's face, he asked, "What, are you making fun of me now?" But Shen replied, "Don't joke around. I'm serious. She's not someone you should even be looking at." Just then, Shen noticed Fang Minwei and her friend nearby. Lao Huang breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that she had only gone to the movies with Li Zanpeng. They hadn't gone to a hotel or anything more intimate. Seeing Lao Huang like this, Shen couldn't help but worry. Has chasing a girl made you lose your dignity, Lao Huang? How do you expect this to end well? But when Shen looked directly at Fang Minwei, he was shocked. She has principles, and they're even higher than Professor Li's? Fang Minwei's friend spotted Shen and whispered to her, "Hey, isn't that Shen Yuan, the guy who got dumped by his girlfriend?" She remembered how, during basic training at the start of the semester, she had encouraged Minwei to get close to him, maybe even buy him a drink. but now she regretted that advice. Rich guys like him always have bad attitudes, she said. It's understandable if they act arrogantly while they're loaded, but even after his family went bankrupt, he's still as cocky as ever. No wonder his girlfriend dumped him. Meanwhile, Shen was watching Minwei's affinity level, which had been high just moments ago, suddenly start to plummet. He realized, so she really did think highly of me? She could have been a huge asset for generating system profits, but now it's all going down because of what her friend just said? Confused, Shen realized he couldn't just sit back, he had to do something. He asked Lao Huang, if Feng Minwei and I end up together, would that bother you? Lao Huang, aware that Shen wasn't the rich guy with a sports car anymore, looked at him seriously and said, I wouldn't mind, as long as she's not with Li Zhanpeng. I don't care who she's with. Upon hearing this, Shen quickly followed Minwei. He was going to give it a shot. He approached Minwei and called her name. Minwei blushed as she looked at Shen, but her friend quickly intervened and asked, What do you want with Minwei? Shen calmly replied, I wanted to ask if she's free tomorrow. I've booked a table at Sing Sushi, and I'd like her to join me. Minwei blushed even harder as her friend asked, Is Shen asking you to have dinner with him? Her friend was surprised because Sing Sushi was a Japanese restaurant with a minimum spend of 1,000 yuan per person. Shen explained, I'm simply inviting her because I want her to help me pick out a birthday gift for my sister. If possible, please let me know by noon tomorrow. After saying that, he started walking back to his dormitory. Minwei, surprised, asked her friend, I just watched a movie with Li Zhanpeng and now I'm going to dinner with Shen Wan. Is that okay? Her friend reassured her, It's not wrong. Sing Sushi serves top-notch Japanese food. Shen Yuan might be a bit arrogant, but at least he's handsome. Li Zhanpeng only has his family's money. If Shen Yuan's family bounces back, he'll easily surpass Li Zhanpeng. Honestly, whether it's Shen or Li Zhanpeng, you have nothing to lose by going. It's just dinner and a stroll, nothing serious. Minwei agreed. The next day, Minwei went out with Shen for dinner at Sing Sushi. While eating, she asked Shen, I've heard your family is going through hard times. You don't need to spend this much. Shen reassured her, Don't worry, for such good food, it's worth it. Minwei then asked, Why did you suddenly invite me to dinner? Is it really to help you pick a gift for your sister, or is there something else? Shen nervously replied, Don't overthink it. I've always wanted to invite you to dinner, but I couldn't find the right moment. Minwei was satisfied with that answer, but her affinity level started dropping again. Shen quickly noticed and changed the subject. He said, During basic training, you often bought me drinks and we chatted on WeChat at night. I missed those happy days. Minwei, hearing this, felt her affinity level towards Shen increasing rapidly. Time passed, and 40 minutes later they finished their dinner. Shen paid the bill, 2,774 yuan. As a result, Minwei's affinity level for Shen increased dramatically. She couldn't believe that my monthly budget is only 3,000 yuan, and this meal we just had is nearly a month's worth of her expenses. Meanwhile, Li Zhanpeng, when they went to the movies, arrogantly said they should first eat at the school cafeteria and dine out next time. Even though his family has money, he's so stingy. Just then, a system notification appeared in front of Shen. He triggered a time-limited task, spend on a person of the opposite sex with an affinity level over 60 and win their admiration. If Shen successfully completes the task, the amount spent on the opposite sex will be refunded to him, multiplied by 3. For every 3-point increase in affinity, the refund will be doubled. Shen noticed Minwei's affinity level increasing, and that feeling of earning 10,000 yuan from just one meal was incredible for him. Meanwhile, Minwei was genuinely happy. The more she looked at Shen, the more she liked him. She didn't care if it was the power of money. She grabbed Shen's hand and told him to go to the mall to pick out a gift for his sister. Shen noticed Zhou Wanting and her new boyfriend. Zhou looked at him and couldn't believe it. They just broke up yesterday and he's already out with someone new? Her boyfriend was frustrated, unable to believe how a poor student like him could spend money in a place like this. Meanwhile, he, an exploited worker, had to buy so many bags just to win Zhou Wanting over, and this guy, with all his debts, still has girls with him? It was infuriating. Seeing Zhou Wanting's expression again, he suggested they should go to other stores first. Zhou Wanting's new boyfriend saw this as an opportunity to humiliate Shen and told him, "Since you're here, why don't you go in and take a look? After all, window shopping costs nothing." Shen, unfazed, told him that it was just a coincidence. He came here to shop for a gift for his sister. Zhu Wanting's boyfriend laughed at him and said, "You should hit the wholesale market for gifts, not here where you can't even afford anything." Zhao Wenting approached Manhwa and warned her that she shouldn't come into his shop. He wasn't a second-generation rich guy anymore. He was just a poor student now. Shen intervened and told Zhou Wanting that he never fooled anyone, so she should stop talking nonsense. However, Zhou Wanting's boyfriend approached Shen and told him that he shouldn't speak to Wanting like that. A man should have class. Besides, Wanting was his ex, and everyone knew his family situation, bankrupt and in debt, so he didn't need to pretend he was rich. Shen, frustrated, couldn't believe how disgusting the two of them were. They were really made for each other. Just then, Shen triggered another time-limited task. The system asked Shen to spend on a person of the opposite sex with an affinity level over 60, and raise others' negative emotion levels rise due to the host. For every 5-point increase the spending on the opposite sex is doubled, this task could also be combined with a refund for spending on the opposite sex. Shen smiled, unable to believe the system had given him this opportunity. At first, Shen thought of giving them some dignity and not embarrassing them in public, but since the two of them insisted on meddling, now that the system had issued a task, there was no reason not to act. He grabbed Minhui's hand and went inside. The black-haired salesgirl told another girl sitting beside her to take care of Shen Yuan, who used to be a regular customer. The girl didn't agree with her and wondered, what's the point of serving a bankrupt ex-rich guy? Last time that fake socialite came in, she ended up running around and just sampled things without buying. I don't want to do that again. Just then, Zhou Wanting decided to buy a luxury bag and asked her boyfriend June to pay for it. She even showed it to Shen. The black-haired salesgirl quickly saw this as an opportunity and rushed over to Zhou Wanting. Meanwhile, another girl, frustrated, couldn't believe it. Quality customers who make steady purchases were being taken care of by her, while the problematic ones who don't buy were left for her. How unfair. The salesgirls praised Zhou Wanting for her excellent taste, while Shen told Minhui not to worry about money and to buy whatever she thought was good. Minhui showed an excellent and pretty bag that his sister would love. However, the salesgirl standing beside them told Shen that together the items cost over 50,000 yuan, which was pretty expensive for someone whose family went bankrupt. Meanwhile, Zhou Wanting's boyfriend June nervously thought that a 20,000 yuan bag would be enough, but she wanted a full set for 100,000 yuan. Zhou Wanting whispered in his ear, telling him to pay up and show his strength as a boyfriend in front of Shun Yuan. However, brother June didn't have that much money on his card. On the other hand, Shen told the salesgirl that he wanted both bags, as well as the accessories the other salesgirl had recommended. Upon hearing this, Zhou Wanting and her boyfriend were shocked, but so were Minhui and the salesgirl, who had thought Shen was broke. The salesgirl nervously calculated the amount and told Shen his total was 131,000 yuan. Shen smiled, thinking that right after the food refund, he had exactly that amount. He handed over his card and paid the full amount. The salesgirl, filled with disbelief, couldn't believe it. She had thought it would be a waste of time, but not only did he buy 2 bags, he also added a set of accessories. One sale had exceeded 230,000 yuan. She didn't expect Mr. Shen to be even more generous and carefree than before. Zhou Wanting furiously shouted at Shen and asked him where he got all that money. Wasn't he supposed to be bankrupt? Her boyfriend also asked Shen if he took out a loan just to show off in front of them. However, Shen told Zhou Wanting to think whatever she wanted and advised her boyfriend to buy another bag for Zhou Wanting. It only costs a bit over 20,000 yuan, which is nothing for someone who drives a luxury car that costs at least 600,000 or 700,000 yuan, so he wouldn't mind spending a bit more. Zhou Wanting looked at her boyfriend June and told him to show his power. This argumentative brat shouldn't let him look down on them. However, brother June's luxury car was bought with a loan, but he couldn't tell Wanting this as it would hit a sore spot. So he pretended to get an important call and tried to slip away from the situation. Furious, Zhao Wanting looked at Shen angrily and told him to take care of himself. Meanwhile, the negative emotion points for the system task that Shen received had already hit the target. It wasn't worth arguing with them anymore. What mattered was that the task was done. Shen gave one of the luxury bags he bought to Minhui. However, she refused to take it, telling him that it was too expensive and she couldn't accept it. But Shen told her it was nothing, just a bag. She had to put up with those nasty comments, so this was his way of apologizing. After Shen insisted, she finally accepted it. He also gave her all the other items. Minhui, confused, asked him if these weren't for his sister. Shen made an excuse, telling her he didn't think his sister would like them, but he knew at least this bag was something she would like. And of course, if he bought it for his sister, Shen Xuan, she would definitely scold him for splurging and then tell their parents. From the start, these two bags were meant for her. He told Minhui to take them so he could get the refund. Minhui blushed, thinking that one bag was already too much, and now the whole set? Wouldn't it give her a bad impression that she's a gold digger? However, Shen reassured her not to worry too much. This was just the beginning. They had plenty of time ahead. After being pressured by Shen, she finally accepted everything. As she accepted his gifts, the system congratulated Shen for completing the limited time task. This task generated 15 negative emotion points, which would triple the amount spent. Additionally, combined with the refund for expenses on the opposite sex, the total refund is 6 times the amount spent, and he received 786,000 yuan in his bank account. He grabbed Minhui's hand, thinking, Minhui is now my money tree. I have to take good care of her. I can't let her affinity level drop like before. He told Minhui, let's head back to school. It's getting late. Even though he wanted to spend more time with her, he knew these things shouldn't be forced. It was better to let them flow naturally. Sometime later at the boys' dormitory, when Shen was going back to his room, he bumped into Li Zanpeng, who was telling his friend about Minhui. His friend was asking him to celebrate and treat them to dinner. Li Zanpeng agreed and decided to invite the whole class and throw a huge party to make Shen jealous. However, Shen didn't care. He didn't argue with him and decided to go back to his room. At his room, his friend told him the whole situation. That damned Li Zanpeng, after watching a movie with the campus flower, wants the whole school to know and is inviting the whole class for a party, but Shen told his friend not to worry, telling him that Minhui wouldn't be with him. However, Shen's friend told him to stop showing off. He pointed out that Minhui went to the movies with him last night, and who knows if they did more than that. Besides, she didn't agree to go out with him today either, which means she's really with Li Zian. Shen remained silent. He didn't care. He knew Minhui wouldn't be with Li Zianpeng. Right now, he had more than enough money. So, he decided to visit his home. The next day, at Shen Yuan's house, Shen's uncle, Yao De, came to meet with his parents. Shen's dad told him to wait as they were talking with his uncle. Shen's uncle came to get his money back from Shen's parents. After hearing that his family had gone bankrupt, he told them that he needed the amount in the coming days to cover his expenses. Shen's mother, furious, reminded Shen's uncle that when he didn't have enough money to open that car wash, they had lent him 300,000 yuan. They didn't even pressure him after lending it. But now, they had just taken 200,000 yuan from him because of family problems, and he kept pressuring them over and over. However, Shen's father stopped his wife, telling her that maybe his brother had his own difficulties. But Shen's mother argued, telling Shen's father that she had asked his wife about this, and she said they didn't have any urgent expenses these days. Shen's uncle argued back, telling Shen's mother that paying off debts is natural. Luckily, we are family and can talk calmly, he said. If we were strangers, you would have seen what aggressive debt collection looks like. Shen's mother was furious. I can't believe he's even threatening to collect violently, my God. And we were so kind to someone like him before. Shen's father stopped her and told her to get the gold jewelry she had, find it, and sell it to pay off the family debt. Because of this whole situation, Shen triggered a time-limited task, pay off family or personal debts. If he completed this task, the amount paid in debts would be refunded to him, multiplied by 2. The first time he paid 200,000 yuan, he would get 1 million yuan for exclusive car expenses. Shen was surprised and couldn't believe this task came at the perfect time. Even if there wasn't a task, he had planned to help ease the family's burden today. Meanwhile, Shen's mother gave all the jewelry Shen's father had given her. No matter how hard it was, she had never sold them. Although they were only worth a few thousand yuan, they were priceless to him. But when they looked carefully, they noticed that 2 gold rings were missing. They wondered if they got lost during the move. Shen, who had been listening to their conversation from behind the door, felt embarrassed because in his first year of college, when he didn't have enough money to buy Zhou wanting a bag, he went into his mom's room and sold the 2 gold rings. Back then, he was such a lousy kid. He opened the door and told his mom and dad that he had the money. His mom and dad didn't believe him and asked him not to joke around, reminding him of the situation at home today. They told him to use that money to top up the cafeteria card. However, Shen told them he was serious and to prove it, transferred some of the money to his father's account. When his father and mother saw the 200,000 yuan he had transferred, they were shocked and asked Shen where he had gotten all that money. Shen made an excuse, telling his parents that he used to get a good allowance, so he invested it in cryptocurrencies with a friend, who told him not to touch it, that it had huge growth potential. When he saw his money had increased tenfold, he cashed it out recently. Of course, he couldn't tell his parents that he had a system that gave him a refund when he spent money on girls. His parents believed his words and were really happy. With this amount of money, they could pay off the debt and get rid of that problem. After that, his parents paid his uncle's debt, and his mother told Shen's uncle to leave. In the future, it would be better if their families didn't have so much contact. Shen's uncle, after seeing the situation, tried to calm things down, but Shen's mother, furious, told him to get out of her house. Qin's uncle, confused, thought that his cousin owed almost 100 million yuan. He believed that the longer time passed, the less money he'd have, so he came to collect as soon as possible. However, he didn't expect them to pay everything so quickly. He wondered if his cousin's family had a new business that was making profits. Would they prosper again? But with what he did today, it seemed they wouldn't be able to get along in the future. Meanwhile, after completing the system task, Shen received his reward. He received 400,000 yuan and an additional 1 million yuan, totaling 2,186,356 yuan. Shen smiled, thinking that, excluding the 1 million yuan for buying a car, his net worth had already exceeded 1 million. He never expected that by coming home, not only would he help his parents in a critical moment, but he would also receive such a huge reward. However, he knew that to completely settle the family debts, there was still a long way to go. So, even if he gave all this money to his dad, it wouldn't be enough. The best move is to use this capital to generate more money. The most he can give his dad now is 200,000 yuan. He approached his dad and told him that he still had a portion left that he hadn't withdrawn, around 200,000 yuan, and asked if they needed it urgently. However, his mother told him that he should save it for now since the other debts aren't that urgent. But Shen's dad asked him to take out 50,000 yuan for him. Shen agreed. He remembered that the way his dad acted now was exactly the same as when he used to ask him for money. After giving the money to his dad, Shen started heading back to school. But on his way, he met Professor Li and asked her what she was doing there. Professor Li told him that there were no classes that afternoon, so she came out to get some fresh air. Seizing the opportunity, Shen invited Professor Li to dinner to earn some more money. However, Professor Li wasn't alone. She had come with her little sister, Li Meng. Li Meng looked at Shen coldly and angrily. Shen quickly realized that the teacher's sister was like his nemesis, and it was better not to mess with her, no matter what bad happened to him. So he quickly made an excuse and told Professor Li that he had something urgent to do at school and maybe they could eat some other time. Li Meng told her sister, Professor Li, that the guy had bad intentions. Professor Li reassured her sister not to overthink it. It was just dinner, and even if he had other intentions, she couldn't accept them. Meanwhile, Shen's whole body was covered in sweat. He remembered back when he drove with the AC on and caressed Zhou, wanting it was so comfortable and refreshing. But he remembered that, right now, He had a special fund for buying a car that the system had given him. Not using it would be disrespecting the great system. So he contacted Manhwa and asked her to come with him to check out some cars. Manhwa agreed and told him that she didn't have classes that afternoon. Minhui's friend teased her, saying she couldn't believe they were already picking out a car together. She asked Manhwa, "Won't you both head back to the dorm tonight?" Manhwa asked her friend not to talk nonsense, telling her that they weren't even together yet. But her friend teased her, saying it didn't matter if they were together or not. She was lucky to have found a rich and handsome guy, and soon they would be together. Manhwa blushed and asked her friend to stop teasing her. 1 hour later, at the dealership, Shen and Manhwa were looking at cars to buy. A salesman approached them and asked which model they were interested in. However, the salesman was surprised to see a familiar face. He recognized Manhwa as one of his high school juniors. Manhwa also remembered him. This was her senior, Qin Yang, the one who had chased her in high school. Salesman Qin Yang approached Manhwa and asked who the man with her was. Shen introduced himself and told him that he was Minhui's classmate. Qin Yang greeted him and then asked which car Shen was interested in. Shen pointed at the luxury M9 and asked the salesman if he could take a closer look. The salesman told him that the display car was over there, and he could take a look and even sit inside if he wanted. But inside, Qin Yang was furious, thinking that the most basic M9 costs 500,000 yuan, and with all the fees, it exceeds 600,000. This guy dresses so plainly, looks like he doesn't have money, and yet he brings a girl to the dealership to show off? He looked at Manhwa. She couldn't be. She was as beautiful as ever, and she had been his goddess in high school. But now, he was not the same as before. Now, he was an elite salesman at this dealership with a monthly salary of over 10,000 yuan, and he drove a 200,000 yuan Accord. Girls these days were realistic. Someone like him was their top choice. Qin Yang approached Manhwa and asked if she was free tonight. Manhwa awkwardly told her senior Qin that she was not free tonight. And she has other plans. Shen, sitting in the car, asks the salesman if he can arrange a test drive before he buys the car. The salesman, furious, thinks to himself, "I'm trying to invite Manhwa. Why are you interrupting? If you can't buy it, then why do you want a test drive? You're wasting my time." He apologizes and tells Shen that their boss took the test car today, so they can't do a test drive. Shen is surprised because before coming in, he saw the M9 at the entrance. If the salesman can't arrange it, Shen tells him to send someone who can. He gets out of the car and tells the receptionist to send him another salesperson so he can get a test drive. Upon hearing this, a beautiful girl named Chen Na approaches Shen and asks how she can help him. Meanwhile, one of Qin Yang's colleagues asked him, "Hey, did you give your client Chen Na the boy?" Qin Yang, furious, replied, "I don't want to waste my time on a student who isn't even wearing expensive clothes. He says he wants to buy an M9 and test drive it. Isn't that absurd?" But his colleague asked, "What if he actually buys it? You'll regret it later." Qin Yang smirked and said, "Buy? Not a chance. He's just a poor guy bringing a gorgeous girl to show off. I've seen plenty like him." Meanwhile, Chen Na arranged a test drive for Shenxi, explained the car's features and performance to him. However, Shen wasn't paying attention to her words. He was looking at her, amazed by her looks and figure, even more gorgeous than Manhwa. But he knew the auto industry well. He had read online news about sales girls making deals with male clients just to meet their sales targets, so he wasn't sure if she already had a sugar daddy or not. Chen Na noticed how professionally Shen was driving and asked if he was already familiar with the model's specs. She also asked about his approximate budget. Shen asked her if they had any units available. He wanted to take the car home today. Shen Na was surprised to hear that. She couldn't believe he wanted to buy the car right away. Based on her experience, all the clients she had seen before would view the car several times before making a purchase. But this guy, after just a single test drive without even asking the price, already wanted to buy it? Confused and wondering if he was serious, she thought, why did Qin Yang give up on him? She quickly checked if there were any units available at that moment, but there were none in the store. She apologized to Shen and told him, "We currently don't have any units here, but at another branch a client canceled his order due to financial issues." If needed, they could have the car delivered to the store within a week. Shen agreed to this proposal and asked her to place the order. Chen Na was surprised. She couldn't believe that someone would buy a car worth over 600,000 yuan without hesitation. Could this be one of those legendary angel clients? Or does he have other intentions? She told Shen to take a seat in the store and said he only needed to pay a 50,000 yuan deposit for now. She would fetch the contract. Once he received the car, he could pay the remaining amount. After finalizing the contract, she returned to the store where Qin Yang laughed and asked how the deal went. Qin Na smirked and told him the client bought it. Qin Yang, now nervous, said, "That guy is just showing off. When it comes time to pay, he'll make excuses and vanish. There are plenty like him in this store." His colleague agreed, saying, "In all these years selling cars, I've never seen a buyer so determined." Chen Na looked at both of them and said, "Mr. Shen bought the car and he plans to pay in cash." Upon hearing this, both of them were shocked. Chen Yang's colleague looked at him in disbelief and said, "I can't believe how stupid you were. You lost a huge sale. What a waste." After completing all the paperwork, Chen Na handed the documents to Shen and told him, "If you have any problems in the future, feel free to contact me anytime." She also offered him a ride, but Min Hui refused on his behalf. Min Hui told Chen Na that they would just take a taxi. Chen Na smiled awkwardly, realizing that for a moment she had gotten carried away with serving the client and might have annoyed his girlfriend. She thanked Mr. Shen for purchasing the car and told him to take care of them. After that, Shen and Min Hui headed back to the university. While walking, Shen asked, "What do you want to eat now?" Min Hui just nodded. Seeing her like that, Shen asked, "Are you upset or jealous?" Min Hui replied, "No," while blushing. Shen smiled at her. Though she said no, her expression gave her away. He reassured her, "Chen Na and I only have a salesperson-keyword relationship. It's nothing more." Min Hui said, "Who knows?" She told him she had seen him chatting happily with her, scrolling through her moments, and spending so much time together. Shen clarified, "That's just a habit of mine. Every time I add someone, I check out their moments, nothing more." Min Hui, still a little jealous, told him not to do that next time. Even though they weren't officially in a relationship yet, she suddenly felt jealous. Shen's generous spending and charm clearly attracted other women. If she wanted Shen for herself, she had to think of a way to lock him down. Shen nervously promised, "Next time I won't let that happen." Then he added, "Let's eat first, then hit the mall and pick out a gift." However, he also thought to himself, "If I want to earn money, I have to spend it on more girls and get refunds later. That's the trick." Min Hui told Shen, "You don't have to buy me anything. You already bought me 2 bags yesterday." She didn't want Shen to think she was a gold digger. Shen smiled and said, "That doesn't matter. It's normal for girls to have several bags. After all, there are 7 days in a week. You can't carry the same one every day. If I don't spend, how am I going to earn?" he thought. "Spending on girls gets me triple returns. The more she buys, the better. That way I earn more and more." A moment later, they entered a nearby cafe. Chen asked Min Hui, "Do you want a hot or cold drink today?" Min Hui blushed, wondering if Shen was indirectly trying to find out whether she was on her period. Nervously, she replied, "Cold coffee." Shen noticed her odd expression and thought, "What's with that look on her face? Geez, where has her mind gone?" Then he thought, "My last time with Joe Wanting was 2 months ago. With all the money I've saved, I really need to spend it." And with a grin, he decided, "Let's make this misunderstanding even more intense." 3 hours later, after eating and doing some shopping, the two of them started heading back. However, Min Hui couldn't help but notice how incredibly generous Shen Yuan was being to her. In just 1 day, he had spent over 80,000 yuan on her, and in 2 days, the total was nearly 140,000 yuan. Meanwhile, Shen received a notification from his system, received 252,000 yuan on May 12 at 11:39. Current balance, 2,254,256 yuan. Shen was thrilled to see the refund come in so quickly. The system didn't mess around when it came to double refunds. He had given 50,000 yuan to his dad and another 50,000 for the car deposit and got it all back instantly. Even though the 2.17 million yuan included the final payment for the car, even after subtracting nearly 600,000 yuan, he still had over 1.6 million yuan left to spend. Looking at Min Hui, he asked, "How about not going back to the dorm tonight?" Min Hui smiled and agreed. Half an hour later, they arrived at the Grand Magnate Hotel. While Shen was taking a shower, Min Hui sat on the bed, feeling embarrassed and wondering how she was going to explain to her friends why she hadn't returned to the dorm. How do I even say it? Should I just tell them I'm with Shen Yuan? Just then, Shen came out of the shower and asked, "Are you ready?" Blushing, Min Hui quickly messaged her friend Ling Ling, who had once warned her not to cross the line, but she couldn't help it. Shen had given her so much. She texted Ling Ling, "I won't be back tonight. If anyone asks, just say I went to a relative's house." After that, well, let's just say Shen made a move on Min Hui and things happened that can't be described here. Half an hour later, Min Hui thought, this isn't as scary as Chen Ling said it would be. Chen also didn't expect Min Hui to take it so well. He felt good but also completely exhausted. "Seems like I haven't been exercising enough lately. After 2 months without anything, I've gotten so weak." Min Hui approached him and said, "Let's do it again." Shen, nervous and trying to catch his breath, said, "Can we rest a bit first?" But Min Hui wasn't listening. She was in the mood and full of energy. Early the next morning, just as Shen returned to the dorm, the first thing he did was pay off all the loans he had taken from various apps. To his surprise, the system even offered refunds for paying off debts. Between the various loan apps and credit cards, he owed a total of 52,000 yuan. And then there was the 100,000 yuan he owed Li Yuhang. When Shen's family went bankrupt, all his fake friends avoided him. But Li Yuhang, without any hesitation, helped him during his time of need. Just then, Shen's roommate asked, "Where were you last night? You didn't come back to the dorm." He also told Shen to check the class group messages. Li Jianpeng was inviting everyone to a class dinner tonight. Apparently, Li Jianpeng had bought a car, and the class monitor organized the dinner. "If we go, it'll just be to watch him show off," his roommate added. "But if we don't, we'll still lose the 200 yuan class fee." However, Shen told his roommate, "I don't want to go. That guy just wants to flaunt his money." Just then, the system triggered a time-limited task. Yes, the host will receive 1 million yuan exclusively for investments. He must invest the entire amount within 1 week. Task reward: all income from any commercial activity will be doubled. Shen smiled. He couldn't believe it. A business task? It was perfect timing. He had been wondering what to do with all the money in his account, and now he had the chance to use it to create a legitimate source of income to show his parents Li Yuhang's bar was still under renovation. Maybe Shen could invest in it and have some fun too. So we messaged Li Yuhang, "Send me your location. I'll join you tonight." Sometime later, inside the private Dragon Lounge at Nanjing Restaurant, Lin Guangyao, one of Li Yuhang's friends, asked, "Who else are we waiting for?" Another man in a black suit and glasses, Xie Haijie, said, "All the important people have already arrived." Zhao Zhang, another friend, agreed. "Yeah, the important ones are never late." Li Yun smiled and told them, "Don't be impatient. There are fruits and snacks on the table. Grab something while we wait. Shen Yuan will be here soon." However, Lin Guangyao raised an eyebrow and said, "Wasn't Shen's family supposed to be bankrupt? It's no longer in our circle, so why did he invite him?" But Li Wang simply told him to mind his own business. "He's picking up the tab tonight, and it's not your money he's spending. You don't have to complain. After all, Shen Yun is my lifelong friend. It's not the same." On hearing this, Lin Guangyao agreed and didn't say anything. Instead, he started fiddling with the colored light beside him and sat closer. Then he asked his cousin Xie Haijie, "Didn't you say your girlfriend was coming tonight? Why hasn't she arrived yet?" Xie Haijie replied, saying that his girlfriend was stuck in traffic and would be there in about 10 minutes. However, Lin Guangyao was furious, thinking to himself, "His family has always depended on mine. If it weren't for me, they wouldn't even have the right to attend this gathering. I don't know what kind of luck he had to land such an amazing girlfriend." especially in that tight skirt and white blouse. She's the kind of office temptation no man can resist. After all, they're not even married. I might still have a chance. Just then, Shen arrived and apologized to everyone. Sorry for keeping you all waiting. Li Yuyang asked him why it had taken him so long. Shen replied, there was heavy traffic and the driver took a detour through the most congested areas. Upon hearing this, Li Yuyang advised him to report the driver. Lin Guangyao, smiling, couldn't believe Shen had come by taxi. Everyone else here arrived in their luxury cars, and he took a taxi? No wonder he got stuck in traffic. He remarked sarcastically, you're lucky. While everyone else came in their own cars, you already have a personal driver. Just then, Xiaoyaji's girlfriend arrived. She was none other than Chen Na, the woman Shen had met when he visited the showroom to buy a car. She also apologized to everyone, saying she had been stuck in traffic. Xiaoyaji stood up and told everyone, my girlfriend is a sales rep at the 45 dealership, Yao Yao. Here's the corrected version of your text with proper grammar, sentence structure, and improved clarity. I've kept the tone casual and close to the original. If any of you need to buy a car, you can contact her, Sihaijie said, but inside he felt secretly proud. He might not be as rich as the others, but his girlfriend was prettier than theirs. Just then, Chen Na noticed Shen, the man who had picked up his car yesterday. However, since Shen didn't greet her, she decided to act like it was their first meeting. 40 minutes later, Li Yu stood up and announced, I'm planning to upgrade the bar I'm setting up. We're all good friends here. If anyone is interested in investing and growing the business together, let me know. The estimated cost is 2.4 million yuan. I'm willing to give up 30% of the shares, which means an investment of around 700,000 yuan. Anyone interested? However, everyone sat in silence. No one said a word. One of them thought, does Lin Guangyao really not understand? Li Xiao's family earns tens of millions a year. Does he really need outside investment for 700,000 yuan? He realized that it was probably because Li Yuhang's previous investments had failed and his father was no longer funding him. Meanwhile, Xie Haiji, who wasn't from a wealthy family, thought, if I want to invest in this business, I'll have to save for 2 years just to gather 700,000 yuan. And the third guy? He was just here for the food, not for any kind of investment. Everyone remained silent. They didn't want to invest in something where they weren't sure they could even recover their money. Li Xiao couldn't believe it. These guys are always happy to take advantage of me for food and drinks, and I always foot the bill, but when it comes to money, they hesitate. When they need something, they don't hesitate to ask. But now, when Shen is struggling, everyone suddenly plays dead. He finally asks them, why is everyone so quiet after dinner? Can't you at least say something? If you don't want to invest, just say no. Lin Guangyao spoke and told Li Xiao, I don't think we're at the point of needing investments yet. If it's just a liquidity issue, we can all chip in a few thousand to help open the place. Then, when you start making money, you can pay us back. Everyone agreed with Lin Guangyao, saying that if they became partners halfway through, it wouldn't be fair to Li Xiao. That way, when he starts making money, he doesn't lose out. After all, they had all seen Li Xiao's investment track record. The hot pot restaurant and the KTV he opened before were both disasters, and now he wants to open a chill bar? How is that any different from throwing money away? However, some of them didn't agree with Lin Guangyao, thinking, if he has money, let him lend it privately. Why drag everyone into this? We all depend on our families, and we don't even have enough pocket money ourselves. Li Xiao was disappointed. He couldn't believe it. He just wanted to partner with everyone to do business and make money. But if it turns into borrowing and getting into debt, then it makes no sense. But one thing became clear to him. These so-called brothers, especially Lin Guangyao, were useless. He had clearly talked about investing and becoming partners, but Lin Guangyao had turned it into a loan. So he told everyone, if no one's interested, then forget it. Lin Guangyao agreed, saying, Li Xiao talking about investments and partnerships makes no sense. Let's just keep eating, drinking, and having fun. Meanwhile, Shen, who already knew the true faces of these so-called friends, stayed silent. He had seen their attitudes ever since his family went bankrupt, and yet Li Yuhang still kept pinning his hopes on people like them. They're all parasites, surviving only thanks to their families, wasting everything they've been given. Li Yuhong quickly grabbed his phone and looked. Only to his surprise, he had received a message from his bank confirming a credit of 700,000 yuan to his account. Lin Guangyao, seeing Li Yuhong's stunned expression, asked him what happened. Instead of replying, Li Yuhong simply showed his phone to Lin Guangyao. As Lin Guangyao looked at the screen, he was shocked. He couldn't believe that Shen had actually transferred 700,000 yuan. Chen Na, confused, wondered if the situation had suddenly changed. One of the other friends approached Lin Guangyao and asked why he was shaking all over. "What kind of message did he show you?" With a trembling voice, Lin Guangyao said, "I have something to take care of at home, so I can't stay." Xie Haiji, also confused, asked him, "What's going on?" But Lin Guangyao replied, "Don't ask anything. You should go home too. Your uncle and aunt are looking for you." Xie Haiji, puzzled, responded, "They haven't called me." Lin Guangyao, furious, couldn't believe his cousin didn't even understand the gravity of the situation. But he realized it wasn't worth arguing anymore. Still, one thing he couldn't understand, if Shen had so much money, why did he come by Didi? Was he trying to show off? "He stole all the attention tonight." Another friend came over, curious about Lin Xiao's sudden change in attitude. He asked, what did the message say? But when he looked at it himself, he realized the gravity of the situation and decided it was best to quietly leave. Seeing him, the others also started leaving. However, Xie Haiji still didn't understand why everyone was behaving like that. But Chen Na advised him that they should leave as well. Outside, Xie Haiji asked Chen Na, "How did you know they were checking the transfer records? You didn't even see the message." She told Xie Haiji that Shen Yuan bought an M9 yesterday and paid in cash. However, Xie Haiji still didn't believe it and asked Chen Na if she was joking. With a serious face, Chen Na told him that she was telling the truth, and she even had the purchase contract saved on her phone. Xie Haiji apologized and said, "I am not trying to criticize you, but if you knew he was a rich guy, you should have told me earlier." But Chen Na was furious. She said, "Today, I finally see what kind of person you are," and told him firmly, "Let's never contact each other again." Meanwhile, back inside the bar, Li Wei told Shen, "If I had known you were that rich, I wouldn't have organized this meeting today." But Shen replied, "It was necessary. Now you've seen for yourself those guys aren't trustworthy. They're fine to hang out with, but when it comes to serious matters, you can't rely on them." Then Shen asked Li Yuhang to tell him more about his idea for the bar. Even though he was only a minority shareholder, he wanted to be involved in the planning. Li Yuhang agreed and began sharing his plans. For the next 30 minutes, Shen Yuan discussed the bar's decor, style, and operations with him. Li Yuhang was impressed with Shen's suggestions and said, "You didn't waste your time in college. You really have an interesting vision for business." Shen smiled and replied, "This is what you call commercial talent." But he also added, "Neither of us has time to manage the place every day, so we'll need to find a good manager who can handle this task." 1 hour later, Shen Na messaged Shen and told him the car he reserved was about to arrive at the store. She said he could come on Friday to pay the balance and pick it up. However, Shen told her not to worry and asked if she was free tomorrow night. He had some specific questions about the car that he wanted to ask in person. Shen Na, confused, wondered what was going on with Mr. Shen. Meanwhile, Shen, who only had Manhwa as his money tree, knew the refunds from the system were limited. He needed to expand and make the most of the system. Since Chen Na was beautiful and had an amazing figure, he thought, why not spend money on a beauty like her and get the refund through the system? The next day, Chen Na arrived at the location Shen had sent her and waited for him. But Shen still hadn't shown up. Just then, an awkward-looking old man approached Chen Na and asked, "What are you doing here, and why are you wearing the store uniform?" It was Chen Na's branch manager, Zheng Xianyang. He had been trying to flirt with her for a while, but never got the chance. Seeing her alone today, he felt it was the perfect opportunity. He told his colleagues, "You guys go find somewhere to eat. I've got other things to do." However, they already knew exactly what he was planning. One of the men asked another, "Do you think Chen Na will agree to Mr. Zhang?" But the other man replied, "I don't think so. Chen Na doesn't seem like that kind of person." The first man shrugged and said, I don't know, what kind of girl comes out here to eat alone? Maybe she set up a casual meeting on purpose just so Zhang Xianyong could see her. However, Hei Haiji was also there, secretly listening to their conversation from behind. Meanwhile, Mr. Zhang approached Chen Na and asked her, Are you alone? Mind if I join you? But Chen Na politely apologized and told him, I'm already waiting for a friend. I have a date. Mr. Zhang smiled, not believing what he was hearing. This little girl is still playing hard to get, he thought. He said, as your superior, it doesn't matter if you're waiting for someone, we can eat together. Chen Na, now visibly annoyed, firmly declined and told him to keep a proper distance. You already have a family, you shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. Mr. Zhang shamelessly replied, If you're worried because I have a family, I can divorce my wife for you. Meanwhile, Xia Haiji, fuming, wandered around the mall. He couldn't believe Chen Na had rejected him to go after another man. I earn 400,000 to 500,000 yuan a year. I drive a car worth over 300,000. I'm not inferior in any way, he thought angrily. Just then, he spotted Chen Na sitting with Mr. Zhang. I can't believe I'm losing to that fat old pig, he muttered. He stormed over to them and shouted at Chen Na, How can you have an affair behind my back? Chen Na, stunned and confused, told him, You misunderstood everything. Mr. Zhang was also confused, wondering who this fool was. However, Xia Haiji was so angry that without thinking he punched Mr. Zhang across the face. Mr. Zhang was furious. He couldn't believe where this crazy dog had come from, daring to hit him. He grabbed Xia Haiji by the collar and punched him in the face. Both of them started fighting like wild dogs, and the people around enjoyed the spectacle. Just then, Sheng arrived and saw Xia Haiji fighting with someone. However, he was relieved. If it hadn't been for that fat man who took the fall, he would be the one lying on the floor right now. Shen grabbed Chen Na's hand and quietly left. While driving, Shen Na told Shen that she had only been with Xie Haiji for 2 weeks. It was at that dinner when she realized how horrible his character was. Luckily, she left him that very night. Shen agreed with her decision, telling her it's better to discover someone's true nature early than to regret it later. However, Chen Na said it wasn't over. Zhang Xian, the man who got hit, was her boss. Now that he had been beaten for no reason, she didn't know how he would treat her. Chen told her a boss like that didn't deserve her working for him and advised her that it would be better to change jobs. But Chen Na said it wasn't that easy to find work now. If she changed stores, she'd have to start over, and all the customers she had built up over the years would be gone. The truth was, being in sales for so long was exhausting. And she also wants to switch industries, for example, open a small cafe. If she's in a good mood, she'll stay open longer. If not, she'll close early. It'd be wonderful. However, a cafe costs between 300,000 and 400,000 yuan, and she doesn't know when she'll be able to save that much. Chen heard this and told her, if you want to open a cafe, you don't have to worry about not having enough money. Jay is willing to invest. Besides the 700,000 from Li Yuhang, I've just secured 300,000 won in exclusive investment funds. However, Chen Na didn't take it seriously and told Shen that if that happened, she'd resign immediately and work for him. Chen, with a serious expression, told her to resign tomorrow. I'll invest 300,000 yuan to open a cafe and you'll work for me. Qian Na was surprised, wondering if she had heard that right. Meanwhile, Xin was happy to get a new money tree. Chen Na was shocked and asked Xin if he was serious or just joking with her. Xin smiled and told her that he was genuinely serious. Don't you want to work for me? When the cafe is up and running, I'll pay you 12,000 yuan a month, plus bonuses. If the cafe does well for 3 months, I'll even give you a 200,000 yuan car. Chen Na, though surprised, couldn't believe how generous Shen's offer was. No sales pressure, just work for 3 months and get a car, and her annual income would top 300,000 yuan? However, she felt a bit worried. Was Shen doing all this because he was planning to keep her around? She told Shen, this isn't worth doing just for me, even though it all sounds tempting. I don't want to be a caged canary, especially not as a third wheel. Shen smiled and told her not to overthink it. He explained that he was planning to open a chain of cafes, and this first one was just a pilot project, so their relationship would be strictly boss and employee, nothing more. Chen Nana blushed and asked Shen to give her some time to think. Just then, Shen received a message from Manhwa asking if he was free that evening. If so, let's go out for a cold drink. Chen, a little surprised, couldn't believe how much energy Manhwa had. He replied, telling her that he would come. Then he turned to Chen Nana and said he had something to take care of and had to go. He told her to think carefully and let him know once she made up her mind. Sometime later, at room 808 of the Grand Magnate Hotel, as Shen entered the room, Manhwa grabbed him from behind and told him she missed him. But suddenly, she noticed the scent of another woman on him. Shen looked around and realized it might be because he had gotten into Chen Nana's car and ended up with her perfume. Manhwa pushed him back and asked how he could meet someone else behind her back. Shen hugged her and told her she had misunderstood everything. The only one I love is you. The scent you're picking up, it's probably from earlier today when I went to the dealership to handle car paperwork. Maybe I picked up some perfume from the sales girls. They wear a lot of perfume to attract customers. Manhwa agreed with his explanation. However, she told him that next time he goes out with another girl, he should let her know first and keep some distance from that sales girl. Shen nodded in agreement. However, deep inside, he knew he couldn't actually do that. His system task was to spend more on the opposite sex and earn money back through refunds, so he couldn't stick to just one money tree. After clearing up all the misunderstandings, Manhwa told Shen she was going to take a shower first and asked him to wait. However, Shen grabbed her from behind and threw her onto the bed, telling her, "You don't have to shower, I like your natural scent." Just like that, the two kissed and engaged in some proper exercise. 2 hours later, despite the long session, Manhwa still wasn't satisfied and wanted to continue. But Shen, now looking exhausted, asked her to wait. "I need to shower. I've sweated a lot and feel sticky. It's uncomfortable." One thing Shen realized was that Manhwa had far more energy than Zhou Wanting. Manhwa was glowing with happiness, but he was completely drained. Still, whatever kind of exercise they just did seemed to boost Manhwa's affinity level by a lot. Last time, it rose to 86 in one night. Today, after 2 rounds, it hit 90. As Manhwa's affinity level reached 90, Shen completed an affinity task and was rewarded with one lottery ticket worth 1 million yuan and one skill, Ruthless Power. Shen was surprised, but also thrilled. A lottery ticket worth 1 million yuan? With that kind of money, it would be easy to explain where the funds came from, and he could finally pay off his family's debts. However, what excited him even more was the skill he had just received, Ruthless X Power. With this skill, in the future he would be able to completely dominate Manhwa. From now on, she wouldn't control him, she would be under his control. As he activated the skill, his manhood became solid again, and he started to feel a huge surge of energy between his legs. The rewards for reaching an affinity level of 90 with the opposite sex are amazing, he thought. It seemed like the system gave rewards based on what he needed. However, he knew that reaching an affinity level of 90 with the opposite sex was tough. Although Li Xiao had surpassed 60, getting to Hui's level would be a long road. As for Shen Na, with her long legs and black stockings, she had also broken 60, but for now he needed to advance step by step. He really didn't know when the next girl with an affinity level above 90 would show up or what rewards he'd get, but he wouldn't worry about that for now. The important thing was to test the power the system had given him. So he approached Manhwa, who was surprised, and asked him if he wasn't taking a shower. Shen smiled and told her that he wanted to do more exercise before showering. Meanwhile, elsewhere at Qian Na's house, after hearing Shen's offer, she called one of her friends, Qian, and told her that a guy had offered her 300,000 won to help her open a store. He also said that after 3 months, he'd give her a 200,000 won car. Chen Na asked her friend Qian if she thought the guy wanted to keep her, but she also told her that the guy already had a girlfriend. Qian jokingly asked her if she was kidding or if she had run into a scammer, but Chen Na told her that she was telling the truth and that she'd seen him a few times. The last time, he even bought a car with her. Upon hearing this, Qian asked Chen Na how old he was, saying that most of the buyers at her dealership were usually middle-aged men. Chen Na replied that he was only 21 years old. Surprised, Qian couldn't believe it. So young and already driving a luxury car? She asked Chen Na if he was handsome. Chen Na nodded in agreement. Qian asked, is he really going to spend 300,000 yuan to help you open a store and then give you a 200,000 yuan car? A guy so rich, handsome, and young, what more could you ask for? But Chen Na told her that he was 5 or 6 years younger than her. Qian told her not to worry, saying, people say if a woman is 3 years older, it's like hugging a gold bar. In his case, roughly speaking, it's like hugging 2 gold bars. But Chen Na also told her that he already had a girlfriend. Qian told her that having a girlfriend isn't the same as having a wife. Even if he were married, under those conditions, it wouldn't matter. However, Chen Na disagreed with her opinion. Qian teasingly said to her, if you're so indecisive, pass this little millionaire to me. I'll put up with everything for you. But Chen Na told her that she should think about her own boyfriend first. However, Qian said that if a man like that wanted to keep her, she'd be single in a second. She hung up the phone and told Chen Na not to worry too much. Chen Na, after ending the conversation, looked out the window, thinking about Shen, wondering what she should do. Meanwhile, at the Grand Magnate Hotel, 40 minutes later, Manhwa, fully satisfied, told Shen Yuan that he was different from before, much stronger than before. Shen smiled and asked her if she was satisfied. Manhwa blushed, thinking, in just over 40 minutes we've already done it twice. Shen approached her and whispered in her ear, asking if she liked it so much, why not go for another round? Manhwa was surprised but embarrassed, asking if he could really go again. Chen smiled, saying, I remember you studied dance. Come on, how about you take the lead this time? Manhwa, embarrassed, replied that she didn't know how Shen approached her and told her that she could learn over time. Just like that, the two of them exercised all night. The next day, after Fang Manhwa returned to school, Shen was still feeling sleepy. He didn't have any classes in the morning, but suddenly remembered that he had received a lottery ticket from the system and wanted to check it. As he looked through the process, he realized the lottery ticket he had was showing the same numbers as today's winning draw. He had won 6.8 million yuan. Shen, overexcited, couldn't believe he hit a 6 million yuan jackpot. He quickly got up from bed, eager to tell his parents the good news. Ever since the family went bankrupt, they had been struggling. Sometime later, he reached his home and called out for his mother. His mother came out and asked why he was shouting at the door, what had happened. But before Shen told her the good news, he asked where his father was, saying he had something really important to tell them. His father came out and asked what happened. Had he gotten into some kind of trouble? Shen smiled and told them that their family was now rich because he had won a 6.8 million yuan lottery. However, his parents didn't believe him and told him not to stress too much over the family debt. Just focus on your studies, they said. We'll take care of the debts. Chen showed them the lottery ticket he had, along with the winning numbers on his phone. As his father matched the numbers, he was stunned. He turned to his wife and said, "We really won the jackpot." Both of them were shocked. They couldn't believe it was really 6.8 million. Chen told them that even after deducting 20% in taxes, they would still have over 5 million left. With that money, not only could they pay off the debts, but they could also greatly improve their lives. His mother, overjoyed, thanked her son. Because of him, their family was no longer in debt. She suggested they celebrate hitting the big jackpot. However, Shen told his parents that after graduation he was planning to start a business on his own to gain some experience. Shen's father agreed with him, but also gave him some advice. Right now, business isn't easy, but it's good that you have that idea. Young people need to explore, and since you won the prize, it's best you manage it yourself. He also suggested that Shen set aside a portion of the money for himself so that if he failed, he'd have a backup. Shen told his parents that he would only take 1 million yuan for himself, and they could use the rest however they needed. Shen's parents agreed and told him they would support whatever he chose to do. Meanwhile, at Chen Na's office, her boss, Mr. Zhang, called Chen Na into his office and asked for an explanation about the incident that had happened at the mall. Chen Na told Mr. Zhang that she had broken up with that man a long time ago, and she had nothing to do with him anymore. If he was hurt, he should be looking for the man, not blaming her. However, Mr. Zhang didn't agree, saying, "If it weren't for you, would that man have beaten me for no reason?" In truth, Mr. Zhang was planning to use the incident as an excuse to gain leverage and try to win her over. But Chen Na stood her ground and stuck to her word. Chen Na told Mr. Zhang, "What does their fight have to do with me? Besides, yesterday when he sat down, I told him I had a date, but he insisted on sitting there." However, Mr. Zhang smiled and told her she was being stubborn. He added, "Yesterday afternoon, you left your post, leaving customers unattended in the showroom. As punishment, I'm suspending your customer service duties for the rest of the month. Take this time to reflect on what you did wrong." Chen Na asked him why, saying that she had asked for permission yesterday. Zhang laughed and replied, "That's because I'm the general manager of this store, and I have full authority. I can do whatever I want." Chen Na was angry, but she couldn't say anything. Mr. Zhang smiled smugly, thinking, "Suspending your customer service duties means you'll lose your commissions. If you're only getting the base salary this month, that's just 1,200 yuan, not even enough to cover your rent." Chen Na was furious. She told Mr. Zhang, "This general manager position has really gone to your head. It's nothing more than a trivial job. If necessary, I'll quit." Worried, Mr. Zhang stood up from his seat and asked Chen Na to think carefully. But Chen Na, still furious, told him, "I don't need to think anymore. From today onward, I'm done with this useless job." Half an hour later, she messaged Shen and told him that she had quit her job. Then she asked him, "Does what you said yesterday still count?" Shen congratulated her on escaping that hell and choosing a brighter path. He told her that when she had time, she could go check out some locations. "If you find one that suits you," he said, "we'll take it." After that, he went to meet Professor Li. However, Professor Li was busy moving her office supplies and asked Shen to help her, as there were too many things she couldn't move on her own. She said she was going to ask the class monitor for help, but he was on leave. Shen agreed and told her not to worry, explaining that he didn't have classes in the morning and was free at home. He pointed at a cabinet and asked Professor Li, "Do we need to move that too?" Professor Li nodded, telling him that if it were only books and supplies, she could manage alone, but the desk and the filing cabinet were too heavy. "But first," she said, "remove the books from the top of the filing cabinet or they might fall when we move it." As she tried to reach the books and files, her hand couldn't quite get to them. Shen came over to help. Because of that, he ended up standing very close to Professor Li, and because of that, Professor Li became flustered, thinking, "This time, we're much closer than that one time. Could it be that Shen Yuan really feels something for me?"